The global music industry has seen a significant transformation in terms of cultural influence, distribution strategies, and audience reach. One name that has increasingly become central to this evolution is Jungkook, the youngest member of the globally recognized South Korean group BTS. While BTS as a whole has long been a force in reshaping the global perception of K-pop, Jungkook's individual impact, particularly in the US music industry, is beginning to stand apart from the collective narrative. Jungkook's solo ventures have pushed him beyond the traditional boundaries typically faced by international artists entering the US market. His music, branding, collaborations, and streaming performance demonstrate a rare crossover success that has positioned him not only as a representative of K-pop, but as an independent artist recognized within the US mainstream ecosystem. Jungkook's entry into the solo space was calculated and precise. His solo debut was not only a musical release, but a multi-tiered rollout involving Western producers, targeted digital marketing, and brand alignments that speak directly to a US audience. Unlike artists who attempt to penetrate the US market with dramatic genre shifts, Jungkook maintained his vocal and stylistic identity, blending contemporary pop, R&B, and electronic elements. This helped him appeal to a broader demographic while still maintaining his core fanbase, ARMY. His debut single 7 Feet Lado served as a strong case study in international collaboration done correctly. The production team included established Western hitmakers, while Lado's feature helped bridge the gap between fan bases and genres. Importantly, the collaboration was seen less as a novelty and more as a strategically aligned musical partnership, allowing Jungkook to be perceived not as a foreign feature, but as a peer. What separates Jungkook from other international acts trying to enter the US music scene is not merely talent, it's cultural relevance. Jungkook has successfully integrated into US popular culture in ways that feel organic rather than manufactured. His appearances on American media platforms, from interviews on major TV networks to digital exclusives and YouTube collaborations, have positioned him as familiar rather than foreign. In addition, his fashion sense, social media presence, and engagement with fans on platforms like TikTok and Instagram have allowed him to cultivate a global persona that naturally fits into the American pop culture landscape. Moreover, Jungkook's fluency in English has improved significantly, which helps reduce the cultural and linguistic barriers that often prevent Asian artists from fully integrating into Western media environments. While he still primarily communicates in Korean during official interviews, the effort to bridge linguistic gaps resonates positively with both fans and industry professionals. Jungkook's solo releases are carefully timed and strategically distributed across major streaming platforms. On Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, his songs are not only topping charts but also securing placements in algorithm-driven playlists like Today's Top Hits, Pop Rising, and Hot Hits USA. These placements are significant. They expose his music to casual listeners beyond the BTS fandom and help generate organic discovery. Moreover, his team's data-driven approach ensures that every release is backed by targeted advertising, fan engagement strategies, and cross-platform visibility. For instance, teaser clips, behind-the-scenes content, and interactive campaigns are used to maintain momentum well beyond release week. This mirrors how American pop stars like Olivia Rodrigo or The Weeknd maintain their digital footprint and streaming performance. Jungkook's ability to maintain long-term relevance on streaming charts reflects not just fan loyalty, but mainstream appeal, an essential criterion for being taken seriously in the competitive US music industry. As the music industry becomes increasingly global, one of the most defining features of success in cross-border expansion is the ability to work effectively with producers from different cultural and musical backgrounds. Jungkook has demonstrated this skill with precision, particularly through his collaborations with a range of high-profile Western producers and songwriters. These collaborations are not just artistic experiments. They are tactical maneuvers designed to ensure relevance in the ever-competitive US market. The selection of producers for Jungkook's solo music has been anything but random. Names like Andrew Watt, Blood Pop, and Scooter Braun's production affiliates have been associated with his solo works. These producers are not only well known in the US, but also bring with them a network of industry influence, knowledge of mainstream American pop trends, and access to chart-friendly techniques in song construction. The result is music that sounds both global and tailored for American radio formats, which is a challenging balance to strike. For example, 7 and 3D showcase strong hooks, Western-style vocal layering, and instrumentation that aligns with current US pop and R&B sensibilities. These tracks don't feel like K-pop songs trying to be American. Instead, they feel like global pop productions. Another pillar of Jungkook's solo development is the integration of international songwriting teams. Collaborators often include a mix of Korean lyricists and Western melody writers, ensuring that the emotional core of the song remains authentic while the melodic structure appeals to Western preferences. These songwriting sessions frequently involve remote collaboration or in-studio co-writing in locations like Los Angeles or London. This approach allows for cultural synthesis at the foundational level of music creation, not after the fact. Rather than adapting Korean content for a Western market, the songs are built to be cross-cultural from the outset. By doing this, Jungkook and his team avoid the common pitfall where international artists lose authenticity in an attempt to Westernize their sound. Instead, he becomes a figure of cultural fusion, creating music that is comfortably international without compromising origin or identity. Collaborations extend beyond audio to include visual components. Music videos are a vital aspect of the US music ecosystem, particularly when promoting on platforms like Vivo, YouTube, and Apple Music. Jungkook's visuals are directed by production houses that understand both the aesthetic expectations of the Korean industry, which prioritizes high-concept visuals, and the storytelling simplicity favored in the West. This is why his videos often feature dual interpretations, visually appealing to Korean fans while thematically resonating with Western audiences through symbols of youth, freedom, and individuality. The wardrobe, camera angles, location settings, and pacing are fine-tuned for international consumption. The production value also reflects an understanding of digital virality. Jungkook's team frequently releases alternate cuts, behind-the-scenes footage, and reaction content that boost watch time and engagement, two crucial metrics in YouTube and TikTok algorithms. The success of Jungkook's collaborative ventures raises an important question. Is Jungkook still operating within the K-pop framework, or has he become part of a new category, global pop? The answer lies in the way his collaborations have been framed. Rather than branding his solo releases as strictly K-pop, the promotional strategy and media coverage in the US often present them simply as pop releases. This is a subtle but significant shift. It removes the genre limitations that can often isolate non-Western artists into niche categories and instead positions Jungkook as a peer to other global pop stars, not as an outsider breaking eye. And in this light, cross-cultural collaboration is not a feature of Jungkook's strategy, it is the core. By ensuring that each collaborator, from beatmakers to visual directors, understands this mission, Jungkook has been able to maintain consistency in brand and quality. An often overlooked element of international collaboration is the business and legal structure that supports it. Jungkook's solo releases are backed by partnerships that ensure smooth licensing and distribution in Western markets. Universal Music Group's partnership with HYB plays a crucial role in ensuring that his music is properly distributed across US-based platforms with localized marketing support. This means that Western collaborators are not just involved in the creative process, but also benefit from transparent royalties, rights management, and intellectual property protections. This ecosystem encourages continued collaboration, as US producers are more likely to work with artists whose teams understand industry-standard contracts and revenue sharing. While the artistic side of Jungkook's solo career is receiving much attention, the business mechanisms supporting his rise in the US music market reveal an equally transformative shift. Jungkook's success is not just an artistic achievement, it is a commercial blueprint. His solo journey has forced Western record labels, marketing firms, and streaming platforms to reevaluate how they define, package, and promote international talent. breaks down the structural components of Jungkook's US success from a business perspective and how these elements are reshaping the traditional frameworks used by the American music industry to manage global acts. Traditionally, Western record labels preferred to sign international artists through localized subsidiaries or licensing deals, which limited their global exposure and influence. Jungkook's case challenges this model. Through his agency HYB and their strategic partnerships, particularly with US-based entities such as Geffen Records and Universal Music Group, Jungkook has benefited from a hybrid structure. This model involves centralized creative control in South Korea via HYB, international distribution and marketing handled by US industry professionals, transparent revenue-sharing agreements across global markets. This new structure provides the best of both worlds. Jungkook retains the autonomy and identity of a Korean artist while benefiting from the infrastructural muscle of top-tier US industry networks. As a result, labels are beginning to reconsider whether signing and fully Americanizing an international artist is still necessary. The new emerging standard is co-management and collaborative brand development, with equal emphasis on preserving cultural authenticity and meeting market expectations. Jungkook's projects represent a high-yield return for investors and music companies. His solo campaigns are characterized by global pre-order spikes, massive digital engagement, with fan-base activation, high conversion rates from social media impressions to streaming numbers. For example, his debut single 7 attracted not only high streaming numbers in the first week, but maintained long-term performance, especially in global playlists. Jungkook's ROI is not just measured in first-week metrics, but also in sustained engagement, an important indicator for marketers and brand strategists. Companies are beginning to use Jungkook's performance data as a benchmark for future investment decisions regarding non-Western artists. The traditional risk analysis applied to international acts is being redefined by his performance trajectory. He's proving that global audiences can be just as financially rewarding and even more brand loyal than domestic ones. Jungkook's business influence also extends into the brand and advertising sectors. His collaborations with international companies such as Calvin Klein, Samsung, and Fila show that US and global brands now view K-pop idols not as niche influencers, but as mainstream ambassadors with measurable marketing power. What makes Jungkook's brand partnerships distinct is that they do not rely heavily on his K-pop label. Instead, his campaigns are framed similarly to those of Western celebrities. His image is adapted to global campaigns in fashion, tech, and lifestyle without overemphasizing cultural exoticism. This shift signals to advertisers and branding agencies that global appeal is now a standard expectation. Companies investing in Jungkook are not just tapping into BTS fandom. They are accessing a proven consumer demographic with high purchase intent, strong digital engagement, and cross-platform loyalty. Another key area where Jungkook's career is influencing US business decisions is in concert planning and touring infrastructure. While many international artists struggle to fill US venues due to limited market penetration, Jungkook's potential for stadium-scale events, even without full-group BTS involvement, is changing how promoters evaluate Korean solo acts. Based concert agencies such as Live Nation and AEG are already factoring in Korean soloists into their long-term planning. This includes scouting venues that accommodate bilingual productions, adjusting ticket pricing to match global demand elasticity, partnering with local fan organizations to coordinate physical event engagement, fan projects, merchandising booths, etc. This is a clear break from the older model where international acts were only booked in culturally segmented events or multi-artist festivals. Perhaps the most underappreciated business shift surrounding Jungkook's rise is his semi-independence from traditional radio formats and physical distribution chains. Instead of relying on radio stations or physical album sales in American retail outlets, Jungkook's team has fully optimized digital-first strategies using direct-to-fan platforms like Weverse and VLive, with integration into US markets, strategic TikTok rollouts, time zone-optimized YouTube drops, Spotify editorial placement coordination. His reach is extended globally without logistical limitations. This independence challenges the US music industry's prior gatekeeping through radio syndicates or regional music stores. Now, emerging artists and labels are studying his blueprint to build global first release strategies rather than US first strategies. This reverses decades of Western dominance in release formatting. One of the most powerful drivers of exposure on streaming platforms is placement on editorial playlists. Jungkook's tracks, especially 7 and 3D, have consistently appeared on high-impact playlists such as Today's Top Hits, Pop Rising, and Hot Hits USA. These are not passive placements. His team works directly with Spotify and Apple Music curators, leveraging pre-save campaigns and performance projections to pitch the tracks ahead of release. What makes Jungkook's streaming strategy effective is its alignment with algorithmic behavior. His music tends to have high completion rates, repeat plays, and global shareability, metrics that streaming algorithms heavily favor. This leads to increased visibility not only for fans but for casual users who have never previously listened to K-pop or BTS. By influencing the algorithm, Jungkook indirectly guides how the US general public discovers new music. He's helping shape the content mix that defines what many US-based listeners see as popular music today. Jungkook benefits from an unusually organized and data-literate fanbase that engages in coordinated streaming campaigns. These campaigns are often multilingual, time zone aware, and platform specific. Fans track metrics, set goals, such as 10 million streams within 24 hours, and distribute real-time updates to keep engagement high in the US. These activities amplify Jungkook's presence across platform dashboards and trend reports. For example, BTS. Fans boost his placement on localized Spotify charts. Fan-run TikTok challenges enhance viral potential of his songs. Coordinated YouTube replay campaigns help break view count thresholds required to gain homepage placement. This type of behavior is largely absent in traditional Western fanbases. Jungkook's audience is not simply reacting to music passively. They treat releases like coordinated digital events. This evolution in audience behavior is now being studied by US music marketers aiming to replicate that level of fan mobilization.